Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. People can say a lot with their mouths, but when it comes to attraction, their bodies will tell you the truth every single time. You can play with words, you can hide feelings, but body language, that's the giveaway. If a man is sexually attracted to you, he might not come right out and say it, but he's gonna do things that speak way louder than words. You can tell a whole lot about a man without him ever opening his mouth. You can read him just by looking in his eyes. And trust me, if a man is truly attracted to you, those eyes are going to give him away every single time. There's a difference between polite eye contact and the kind that makes your heart skip a beat. Polite eye contact is quick, respectful, like, hey, how you doing? But when a man is drawn to you on that deeper level, when he's feeling that pull toward you, his eyes will linger just a little longer than normal. That's the moment where it feels like time slows down for a split second, and it's not just a look. It's a connection. Now, you have to understand, men aren't always good at verbalizing what they feel, especially when it comes to attraction. But the eyes, oh, those are windows to everything he's trying not to say out loud. When he's sexually attracted to you, his eyes will have a certain intensity. It's not aggressive, it's not creepy, it's this magnetic pull, like he's studying every detail without even realizing it. He's looking at your face, your smile, the way your hair falls, and he's locking that image into his memory because he wants to remember it. Sometimes you'll catch him looking at you from across the room. He might glance away quickly like he got caught, but that little smirk or that quick shift in his expression, that's him saying, yeah, you caught me, but I couldn't help it. And let me tell you something. Men don't keep looking at things they're not interested in. That's just the truth. If his eyes keep finding you, if you notice him checking for you, even when you're not right next to him, he's not just being friendly. That's attraction, plain and simple. Now, there's also a difference in how his eyes behave when he's talking to you directly. If he's keeping eye contact while you're speaking, not glancing at his phone, not looking around the room, that's his way of giving you his undivided attention. And when a man is attracted, that focus becomes almost electric. You might feel a little flutter in your stomach or suddenly become aware of how close you're standing. That's because his gaze isn't just casual, it's filled with curiosity, interest, and a little bit of heat. Here's the thing, this kind of eye contact isn't always about the physical appearance. Sure, attraction plays a big part. But when his eyes linger, it's also about wanting to connect with who you are. He's reading your expressions, soaking in your energy, figuring out what makes you light up. That's why it feels so personal, like he's looking at more than just the surface. But let's be honest, when a man is truly feeling that spark, he'll look at you in a way that makes you feel noticed, wanted, maybe even a little flustered. That's not by accident. That's his natural instinct kicking in. He might not even realize how much his eyes are giving away, because attraction has a way of bypassing logic. The mind can try to play it cool, but the eyes, they betray the truth every single time. You'll also notice that sometimes in moments where the conversation pauses, he doesn't break the gaze right away. That lingering second is powerful. It says more than any pickup line ever could. It's like he's silently telling you, I'm here. I'm interested and I see you. That's the kind of moment that makes you remember a person long after they've walked away. And let me tell you, if you've ever been in that situation where you lock eyes with someone and the rest of the room just fades, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not just physical attraction, it's an energy exchange. It's two people on the same wavelength for a moment, even if neither one of you says a word about it. So when you notice a man's eyes holding on to you longer than usual, when that look feels different, more intense, more charged, understand that you're seeing something real. That's not by chance. That's his desire showing through, whether he's ready to admit it or not. One thing people underestimate is how much a man's body can talk before his mouth ever opens. If you really want to know whether a man is attracted to you, stop listening to his words for a minute and start watching his body language. Because here's the truth. When a man is drawn to you, his body will naturally position itself in a way that tells you without a doubt, I'm interested. The first sign is how he faces you. A man who's just being polite might turn his head to talk, but his body can still be angled away like he's halfway out of the conversation. But if a man is attracted to you, every part of him is going to be pointed in your direction. Shoulders, chest, feet. It's like his whole frame is locked in on you. That's not random. That's instinct. He's showing without even meaning to that you have his full attention. And then there's the lean. Now, I'm not talking about a big dramatic lean like he's about to fall over. I mean those subtle shifts forward when you're speaking. That way he closes the space between you, little by little. That's his way of getting closer without crossing any obvious boundaries. He wants to be in your zone, to feel that energy up close, and the lean is how he gets there. Mirroring is another big one. You might not even notice it at first, but if you take a sip of your drink and he takes one right after, or if you cross your legs and he does the same, that's his subconscious saying, we're in sync. People only mirror the body language of those they feel a connection with. And when attraction is in the mix, that connection becomes even stronger. You might also notice that his movements seem more open around you. His arms aren't crossed. His hands aren't hidden in his pockets the whole time. He's relaxed, and his body is saying, I'm approachable, I'm engaged. A closed-off posture shuts people out. An open posture draws people in. Another giveaway is how much physical space he allows between you. If he's standing a little closer than what's typical for casual conversation, that's a sign. Men who are just being friendly will usually keep that polite distance, but attraction makes a man want to close that gap. He might lean against the table right next to you instead of across from you, or position himself so there's no one else between you in a group setting. He's making sure that in his mind, there's a straight, clear line from him to you. And don't think for a second that little adjustments don't matter. If you walk into the room and suddenly he straightens his posture, fixes his shirt, or adjusts his stance, that's his instinct to look his best for you kicking in. He's not thinking, oh, I should impress her right now. It's automatic. His attraction has his body going into what I call presentation mode. Even his hands can tell the story. A man who's attracted might gesture more when he talks to you, using his hands to express himself. He might rest a hand on the table close to yours, not touching, but just near enough to make that presence felt. Or maybe he fiddles with something. His watch, his ring, his phone, because his nerves are buzzing from being near you. And if you really want to catch him in the act, watch his feet. Sounds funny, but it's true. A man's feet often point toward what he's most interested in, even if the rest of him is turned another way. So if his feet are pointed at you while he's talking to someone else, you already know where his attention really is. The beauty of all this is that he probably has no idea he's doing any of it. Attraction has a way of taking over the body, bypassing all the filters the mind tries to put up. His words might stay safe, but his body, it's out here telling the truth in high definition. Every lean, every mirror, every open stance is all part of the silent conversation his body is having with you, whether he's ready to admit it or not. Touch is one of the most powerful forms of communication. And the crazy part is, it doesn't even have to be obvious for it to mean something. When a man is attracted to you, he will find ways, sometimes the smallest, most innocent ways, to bridge that physical gap between you. It's not about being inappropriate. It's about those little moments where skin meets skin for just a second and you feel that spark. That's not random. That's chemistry playing out in real time. You might notice it in a crowded space when he brushes past you, his hand lightly touching your back as he squeezes through. That hand isn't there by accident. It's intentional enough to make contact, but casual enough to pass as just being polite. But deep down, he knows exactly what he's doing. He's testing the waters, checking your reaction, seeing if that touch creates that same kind of charge in you that it does in him. Sometimes it's the playful stuff. You make a joke and he gives you a gentle nudge on the arm or taps your hand when you say something funny. Those touches aren't just about humor, they're little checkpoints of connection. A man doesn't go out of his way to touch someone he feels nothing for. If he's reaching out, even in small, harmless ways, it's because he wants that contact. And he's hoping you'll want it too. You might also see it when he's handing you something. Instead of just placing it in front of you, he makes sure to put it directly in your hand, letting your fingers graze his. And maybe it only lasts half a second, but half a second can say a whole lot when there's attraction involved. That's the thing. These moments might look like nothing to someone else, but you can feel when they're charged with more meaning. And here's the sneaky part. Sometimes he'll use touch as a way to guide you. Maybe you're walking through a door and he rests his hand on the small of your back, or he helps you down a step by holding your hand just a little longer than necessary. That extra second isn't about helping you. It's about holding on to that contact because he enjoys the closeness. Even the way he positions himself can tell the story. He might sit close enough that your knees or shoulders bump occasionally, or stand in a way that makes those little brushes unavoidable. He's not asking outright for your attention, but his body's making sure it happens naturally. And every time it does, it strengthens that silent connection between you. If you're paying attention, you also notice how often he breaks the touch barrier. In everyday interactions, people tend to keep a certain level of distance, especially with someone they don't know well. But when attraction is involved, that barrier starts to dissolve. He'll pat you on the shoulder, fix something on your jacket, or touch your arm when making a point. These are excuses, plain and simple, opportunities to feel that physical connection without crossing any obvious line. And let me tell you, men don't do this by accident. Sure, it might not be a conscious plan, but it's a natural response to attraction. Physical touch releases certain chemicals in the brain, dopamine, oxytocin that make you feel good, connected, even bonded. So when he keeps finding ways to touch you, it's because those little moments feel just as good to him as they do to you. Even something as small as a high five can carry weight. If his hand lingers for a moment after, if he squeezes your fingers instead of just letting go, that's him sending a signal. The words might be innocent, but the contact says, I like being close to you. And that's the thing. Attraction doesn't always come roaring in with grand gestures. Sometimes it's in the quiet, subtle touches that happen when no one else is paying attention. Those moments build a rhythm, a pattern, and before you know it, you've got a whole unspoken conversation happening through fingertips, shoulders, and the occasional brush of a hand. There's a certain kind of attraction you can hear before you even see it, and it shows up in a man's voice. People think attraction is all about looks, body language, and smiles, but let me tell you, when a man is drawn to you, you'll hear it in the way he talks. His voice changes, it drops a little lower, gets a little softer, almost like he's trying to create a private world between the two of you, even in the middle of a crowded room. That's not by accident. That's instinct working on autopilot. Think about it. When someone makes you feel comfortable, you naturally relax. For a man, that relaxation combined with attraction makes his tone deeper and slower. He's not just rushing through his words, he's savoring them. Like every sentence is a chance to pull you in closer. And the funny thing is, most men don't even realize they're doing it. They're not saying, oh, let me talk deep so she likes me. It's subconscious. The attraction flips a switch in the brain, and suddenly the voice takes on a whole new rhythm. You might notice that when he talks to other people, his tone is normal, casual, everyday. But when it's you, the edges smooth out, the pitch drops, and there's an intimacy in the way he says even the simplest things. He could be asking if you want some water, but the way it comes out, it feels like he's sharing a secret. That's because his voice isn't just carrying words, it's carrying emotion, attention, and that subtle undercurrent of desire. Sometimes it's not just about the depth, it's about the softness. A man who's attracted to you will often lower his volume, not because he's shy, but because he wants your focus on him and only him. Lowering his voice forces you to lean in a little, closing the space between you. And that lean, that closeness is exactly where he wants you. It's a small but powerful way to draw you into his orbit without even moving his feet. Pay attention to how he speaks during moments of laughter or playfulness. When attraction is there, he'll let his voice get a little warmer, maybe a little teasing. It's not just the words, it's the tone that wraps around them. You can feel the difference between someone joking with you and someone flirting with you. In attraction, the tone carries a little spark, like he's saying, I'm not just playing around, I'm enjoying every second of this with you. There's also something about pacing. A man who's attracted to you might slow down his speech as if he's trying to extend the interaction. He's not rushing to finish his sentence. He's taking his time, giving each word space to land. That's because he's not in a hurry to leave your presence. He's savoring it, and that shows up in how he speaks. And if you really want to know if this voice change is about attraction, watch what happens in more emotional moments. If you share something personal, his tone will drop even more, becoming softer, calmer, more deliberate. That's his way of signaling that he's tuned into you, that you have his full attention, and that what you're saying matters to him. That emotional connection is a huge part of attraction, and the voice is one of the most direct ways it comes through. You might even notice small shifts within a single conversation. He can start out speaking normally, but as the talk goes on and the connection deepens, the pitch lowers and the words come slower. That's him getting drawn in without even realizing it. And here's the thing, when attraction is real, it's not just about the tone you hear, it's about how it makes you feel. The right voice at the right moment can send a shiver down your spine, make you smile without meaning to, or pull you into the moment so completely that you forget everything else around you. The truth is, a man's voice is one of the most honest parts of him when it comes to attraction. He can try to hide his eyes, control his body language, even hold back on physical touch, but that shift in tone is hard to fake. It slips out naturally, revealing what's going on underneath the surface. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. It becomes one of those little signs that tell you exactly how he feels, even if he hasn't said it out loud yet. When a man is attracted to you, he doesn't just want to talk to you, he wants to be near you. It's not always about making a big move or declaring his feelings. Sometimes it's about finding little excuses to close that physical distance. And the thing is, most of the time, he won't even realize how obvious he's being. Attraction has a way of making a man rearrange his surroundings just so he can be in your space. It can start with something as simple as where he sits. In a room full of empty chairs, somehow he ends up right next to you, not across the table or 3 seats down. Maybe you're with a group of people and he positions himself so you're side by side instead of facing each other. That's not random seating. That's him making sure there's no barrier between the two of you. Sometimes it's about how he navigates a space. If you're standing in a crowded area, he might edge in closer, leaning toward you to talk even when there's enough room for him to keep his distance. He might stand just close enough that you can feel his presence without him touching you. That closeness creates a quiet kind of intimacy, the kind where you're aware of each other without saying a word about it. You'll also notice the convenient coincidences. You're going to grab a drink, and suddenly he's headed in the same direction. You step outside for air, and 2 minutes later, there he is. Maybe he offers to help you with something simple, passing you an item, showing you something on his phone, but instead of doing it from afar, he steps right into your space to do it. Those little choices aren't really about convenience. They're about creating more moments in close proximity. Even in group conversations, pay attention to how he moves. If you shift your position, he adjusts his to stay near you. If someone else steps between you, he finds a way to angle himself back into your line of sight or within arm's reach. It's like he's subconsciously making sure there's no long stretch of space between you for too long. Sometimes he'll create closeness under the disguise of necessity. Maybe the music's loud, so he leans in to speak directly into your ear, his voice low and warm, or he might point out something on your phone screen, holding it together with you so your hands are just inches apart. These aren't just practical moves. They're opportunities to feel that nearness, to break the invisible boundary most people keep in place. You might also notice that when you're sitting together, he'll angle his body towards you instead of away. His knee might brush yours, or his shoulder might stay just close enough that you feel the occasional bump when you shift. These aren't random touches. They're side effects of choosing closeness over distance. And here's the real giveaway. He'll do this even when there's no reason to. There might be plenty of space in the room, yet he's right there in your zone. He's not being pushy about it, but he's making sure you feel his presence. That's the thing about attraction. It's not always loud or dramatic, Sometimes it's as simple as a man placing himself in your space again and again until you can't help but notice. It's also about the comfort level. A man who's attracted to you wants you to feel at ease with him being close. So he'll test that closeness in small ways, standing a step nearer, leaning in a little longer, sharing space without crowding you. If you respond well, he'll keep that pattern going, because for him, being near you isn't just about opportunity, it's about connection. That's why proximity is one of the clearest signals you can pick up on. Words can be chosen carefully, and body language can sometimes be controlled, but a man's instinct to be in your personal space when he's attracted to you, that's almost impossible to hide. It's the quiet way he says, without ever speaking, I like being where you are. When a man is attracted to you, his compliments hit different. They're not just about being polite or filling the silence. They have a certain flavor to them, a tone that lets you know he's seeing you in a way other people might not. Friendly compliments are safe. They sound like nice shirt or you did a great job on that. But when attraction is involved, those words get a little more personal, a little more charged, like there's a second meaning tucked right under the first. You'll notice he notices the details. It's not just, you look good today, it's that dress is doing something for you, or that color brings out your eyes. He's not complimenting you like he would a coworker or distant friend. He's complimenting you like a man who's paying attention to every little thing about you. And that's the thing, when a man is drawn to you, he sees you differently. He's not just taking in the whole picture, he's studying it. Sometimes the compliment is in his delivery. His tone might be slower, warmer, like he wants you to feel the words, not just hear them. He might hold your gaze while he says it, letting the silence stretch for a second after, almost like he's daring you to respond. That's not just kindness, that's interest. It's a little spark, a little, I'm thinking about you, hidden inside a casual sentence. And he doesn't just stick to the obvious. Sure, he might tell you that you look amazing, but he'll also notice your laugh, the way you carry yourself, or how you handle the situation. A man who's attracted to you will compliment qualities that feel personal because he wants you to know he's paying attention beyond the surface.